alongside Todd Zeile. And Todd, it's a day later, and I think everybody's still kind of reeling, trying to wrap their heads around the Diaz news. But it's a new day, and the Mets do still need to fortify the back end of that bullpen. So where do you think they go from here?
Well, one of the things that has come, I think, maybe a little more clear to me, to us, since the signing, the non-signing of Edwin yesterday as a Met, is that maybe David Stearns has a plan that is not necessarily go get the biggest guy out there. So I'm not expecting to see another big arm come in and sign for a long-term deal. It's just seeming to me that David is very disciplined about the way he's going to build this bullpen. I'm sure there's certain arms out there. I'm not expecting a long-term deal, and I wouldn't be surprised personally to see some arms that fortify that bullpen to potentially be a part of a trade package.
Yeah, well, that's the one thing that we keep hearing around here is the trade market is way hotter than the free agent market. Regarding that in particular, Mets still need to add at least one starting pitcher that they feel probably could start a playoff game for them. There are free agent names out there, but again, feels like that might be a trade as well. So give me one or two guys that you're really keeping an eye out for.
Look, I feel that that's probably going to be, the Mets are going to be very heavy in the trade market for the starting arm. We talked about Sandy Alcantara. I know that Marlins are putting in a very, very high price tag. As they should. I mean, he's a guy that's a workhorse, and he's a guy that's showing that he's got his stuff back. Mackenzie Gore's another guy that I've liked because I thought he was a little bit under the radar, but I'm hearing that he's got a very high price tag on him as well. So anybody that's talking to the Mets knows that they want starting pitching, they need starting pitching, and they've got a lot of components that they can put into a trade package. So I'm not expecting anything to be easy, but I would expect them to dig into that market. And the last one, I'm a Michael King fan. I think Michael King is a guy that could be gotten right now at a little bit of a discount to maybe what his overall value would be if he had been healthy all year last year. I think he's a guy that can eat up innings. I think he fits into this rotation, but he's not necessarily going to come in with that expectation of being a number one.
Yeah, and for me, you said the name Sandy Alcantara, and obviously he's an arm that everybody would want. And I don't know how realistic it is for the Marlins to trade him within the division, but for what the Mets are looking for specifically after last year, and that's someone that's going to eat up a lot of innings and be reliable every 5 days, this is a throwback type starter, and I would love it if the Mets could find a way to pry him away from the Marlins. I think he would be perfect for what the Mets are looking to do. Finally, the biggest remaining piece of news that Mets fans are waiting on is Pete Alonso and whether or not he is going to be back in Queens. When you look at where things stand right now, how big of a priority do you think that is right now for the Mets?
Well, look, if you had asked me this 3 days ago, which you did, by the way, I thought this was a huge priority for the Mets, and I thought it was a likelihood, or at least a better than 50-50 likelihood that Pete would be wearing a Mets uniform next year. I'm not as optimistic now as I was then. I think the Schwarber signing yesterday might have enlightened some of the industry on the fact that a team like Baltimore will go to 5 years in a guy like Schwarber. I think Pete and Schwarber are very similar in the market. Pete has been pretty adamant about the fact that, and Boris certainly has been adamant about the fact that he wants years. And I don't think, especially as the discipline that we've seen out of David and this, this front office, I don't know that they're willing to go the years that Pete was going to require now, and that puts Boston and Baltimore at the forefront for me. So, look, I hate to say it, but I'm not confident that Pete's going to be a Met.